Shall we start, sir?
Yeah.
Sir, good evening. Thank you very much for visiting Triple IT Dharwad, and also giving me an opportunity to interact with you, and also um, uh, tell more about the wonderful work that you have carried out and continuing to carry out, not only in the academic space. The other two spaces I have seen, sir, one is bringing some um, the Indian ancient value systems and scientifically carrying out research and publishing in top tier journals. That is another aspect I've seen apart from the research area as biomedical engineering and speech and handwriting processing that you are working for several decades. Then the third dimension, one is this academic dimension, which you are known in the Premier Institute, University of Science, Bangalore. The second one is what I discovered associating with you for a long time is your contributions in the breathing exercises and scientific study of some of them. Then third one is the leadership things. These two dimensions were not really known to me earlier, but after associating them, then I felt, and also being part of your team to participating in the breathing exercises workshops, I felt larger community has to benefit. And I myself experienced it, some of my friends experienced it and appreciated that. And I'm happy to see that there is a good scientific publication that has come, and this podcast will be anchoring around that. Before I formally start, I would like to introduce you to the audience, sir. I think to the audience, I want to say more fondly, we call sir as AGR. AGR refers to Angarai Ganeshan Ramakrishnan. He is currently an adjunct faculty in the Department of Heritage Science and Technology at the University of Technology, Hyderabad. He is also a visiting faculty and member board of studies of the School of Psychology and Education, Rishiwood University. He is also the organizational development consultant for the Center for Brain Research IAC and also our Institute Triple IT Dharwad. So thank you very much for helping us, sir, in this aspect. So in July 2023, he retired as a senior professor of the Department of Electrical Engineering and an associate faculty of Center for Neuroscience at University of Science, Bangalore. Before retirement, he headed this medical intelligence and language engineering lab at the department, where he has guided a large number of PhDs, research scholars, MS engineering research scholars, MTech students, and BTech students to work in his lab and gave an opportunity for them to do wonderful research. Apart from this academic research, he is also mentoring several startups as an advisor. Um, and another important aspect is he is very passionate about promoting pranayama exercises by giving talks on the scientific basis of the benefits of deep breathing practices. He is a Pancha Prana Kriya therapist certified by Sadgamaya Foundation. From his academic degrees point of view, he obtained his uh, BTech from PSG College of Technology, Coimbatore, then MTech in Electrical Engineering from IIT Madras, and PhD in Biomedical Engineering from IIT Madras. He was a postdoctoral fellow at the Fetzer Institute, USA, from 1990 to 91. Then he joined the Department of Electrical Engineering at University of Science, Bangalore, where he recently retired. He is fellow of many academic Institute of Engineers, Institute of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers, as well as Institute of National Academy of Engineering. He is also a senior member of Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, United States. His research areas span over speech recognition, speech synthesis, optical character recognition, handwriting recognition, and neural signal processing. He also led a national research consortium on online handwriting recognition in Indian languages, funded by the Ministry of Information Technology, Government of India, from 2017 to 2016. I was one of the luckiest person to be part of his consortium and learn about many new things on handwriting processing, along with many other senior colleagues from other premier institutes. So, with all this illustrious career, he is very active after his retirement in continuing his academic research. Apart from that, promoting this pranayama exercises and also carrying out research in bringing the scientific, giving the scientific basis for them. And the third dimension is the leadership activities. So in this podcast, I'm going to interact with Sir about the recent works that he and his students have done based on these breathing exercises. Sir, with these inputs, I'll welcome you once again, sir. Maybe I'll request you to briefly mention few points, then we can start the discussion.
And thank you, Professor Prasanna. It's a real pleasure to come here. And thanks for all the opportunity that you have given me, in my new career after the retirement. Both, promoting pranayama exercises and converting people to pranayama. I say it like this. Swami Chinmayananda used to say that my job is to convert Hindus to Hinduism. So, like that, my main job is to convert the educated people who think, oh, what is there in yoga or pranayama and all that, to give the scientific basis of how they are so effective, so that they are convinced once and for all, and then they are, with conviction, they start learning and pursuing it. And also the organizational development, where, I'm passionate in transforming educational institutions, including schools, where we create extraordinary leaders and thinkers and committed citizens for the world. Yeah.
So, thank you, sir. I think we are experiencing that for about last 6 months, both this breathing exercise related studies as well as our organization development. It has really taken a good shape at a triple IIT Dharwad with your kind help. So one of the important thing I observed is a recent publication of yours with the students Pradeep Kumar and others, where you talk about modulation of EEG, electroencephalogram signal, by slow symmetric breathing, incorporating breath hold. This, when I went through the paper, uh, I was recalling the breathing exercises that you administered us on many occasions. Then I wanted to know more about this work, sir. If you want, you can share this article, and then quickly we can go through that article. And if you can kindly explain to the audience about the work, that will be of great value. So now it is
Can you?
visible. We can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is actually appeared this month, beginning of this month, April 2025 only. So, so the title clearly shows we are seeing, we have studied in extensively. We studied over 50 subjects, most of them students. So most of them are in the age range of 20 to 35 or so, and we asked them to breathe at different breathing rate, all of them relatively slower breathing rate than normal, 10 cycles per minute, that is 10 full breaths per minute, 6 breaths per minute and 4 breaths per minute, in two different ways. One is, we call it a symmetric breathing, where the duration for inhalation and exhalation is same, but they continuously inhale and exhale. The second one is same thing, which also includes breath hold after inhalation and exhalation. So they inhale for a finite time, same amount of time they hold, then same amount of time they exhale, and equal amount of time they hold after the exhale also. So, and we recorded, because there are some studies that breathing is able to modulate the cerebral spinal fluid, which is the equivalent of blood in the brain. It's a very powerful result. And there is a neuroscience paper which says, is breathing the controlling rhythm for the brain. So a lot of such works are going on, which they have done using fMRI and all that. So we being electrical engineers, we thought we will look at the electrical activity of the brain. So we had a 64 channel EEG system where we recorded this along with ECG, so that we also looked at the heart rate variability, which is not, of course, part of this paper. And we also recorded the breathing activity so that we made sure that they are actually breathing the way we wanted them to breathe. So what we really found is that um, when we breathe like this in a systematic way, you can see here, so this SB uh, refers to symmetric breathing, and SBH refers to symmetric breathing with hold.
Yes.
So here, you know, um, so this dark thing is actually the EEG signal,
Oh, okay.
but it is filtered to a lower bandwidth
Hmm.
because EEG has frequencies up to 150 hertz,
Correct.
whereas the breathing waveform is relatively lower frequency waveform.
Yes. Yes.
So, so the black, this thing, the bold signal,
Ah,
bold black, this thing is the breathing signal.
okay.
So you can see that the breathing signal and the low pass filtered EEG signal are somewhat in sync,
Hmm.
even though there is a small time delay.
Hmm.
And it same pattern is also there during SBH, which is with the hold.
Hmm.
Even when they are holding symmetrically,
Hmm.
still the EEG waveform is highly synchronous with the this thing. And we studied how synchronous they are in terms of the coherence,
Hmm.
and we had very high levels of coherence at all the frequency of breathing 10, 6, and 4. And we measured further on that.
Hmm.
And so, like I said, these are the two breathing patterns. This is the symmetric breathing. You can
Hmm.
see inhale, exhale like that. This
Ah,
is inhale, hold, exhale, hold, and
yes.
all.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, so this shows the coherence that I told you.
Okay.
Coherence is the correlation between the two signals in the frequency domain.
Hmm.
So here you can see this, all of this corresponds to 10 cycles per minute.
Hmm.
That is, they're breathing 10 breaths per minute, and
Hmm.
this is 6 breaths per minute. This is 4 breaths per minute. So the breathing rate slightly slow down as you go down here.
Yes. Yes.
Normal breathing rate for a adult is around 18, 20 like that. So this is, all
Slow.
of them are slower breathing. That's
Hmm.
what the title says, slow symmetric breathing.
Hmm.
So we are comparing their base waveform. That is, when they are not, they are normal breathing. We are not controlling the breathing. As soon as they come, we connect the EEG, and they are breathing in normal, whatever way they are breathing. So we compare that with respect to the EEG that is recorded during this breathing techniques,
Yes.
and we see that the coherence, when it is increased,
Hmm.
and if it is statistically significant,
Hmm.
there is also correction because there are 2064 channels, so they are actually very highly significant.
Hmm.
Those electrodes out of the 64 electrodes are highlighted as these dark red points.
Yes. Yes.
You can see that there are certain number of maybe around 20 points here, and slightly less in 10 cycles per minute as well as 4 cycles per minute,
Hmm.
where that's at 6 cycles per minute it's maximum.
Okay.
So there
Okay.
are studies before which
Ah.
says that even the breathing is synchronizing the heart activity,
Hmm.
and there they have shown that the maximum connection happens around 6 breaths per minute. So they have
Hmm.
called it as the fundamental frequency of the physiology, where many of the physiological signals are connecting.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the same thing we found here also,
Hmm.
that you can see that whether they are breathing symmetric breathing or symmetric breathing with hold,
Ah.
the at 6 cycles per minute,
Ah.
the number of channels which have very high significance for the breathing waveform
Hmm.
is much higher compared to both 10 cycles per minute and 4 cycles per minute.
Hmm.
And
So,
here it compares the breathing with hold with breathing without hold,
ah.
both symmetric breathing.
Ah.
So even though they are highly significant with respect to the baseline,
Mm.
between these two, there is not much, none of the channels are highly significant.
Yeah.
So whether you're breathing with
Mm.
a hold and without hold,
Mm.
there's not much difference in terms of its connection with the breathing. So we are also promoting this. See, when you do breathing with a hold, you can go to much lower breathing rates.
Mm. Mm.
So when you do very low breathing rates, your parasympathetic activity of the autonomic nervous system becomes very high, which relaxes your body. It
Yes.
reduces your heart rate, it reduces your blood pressure. It gives deep relaxation to people.
Wonderful.
So by holding the breath, if the person is able to do, they can still lower the breathing rate, which is a additional thing that we are showing from here.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
So
you
in
had some question.
the above figure
Yeah,
2A,
yeah.
is there anything to explain there? This one. There are three peaks there, and the one is for 10 cycles, 6 cycles, and 4 cycles,
Yes,
and one is symmetric breathing with hold, second row.
right.
Then the breathing pattern is there, first column.
Yeah.
Second one, very low frequency EEG signals,
Mm,
and this coherence breath versus VLF EEG. There is
correct.
some coherence has been shown.
Mm,
So, for example, in the rightmost column, sir, we
mm,
have IBL, one figure, then
right.
10 cycles per hour, 6 cycle, and 4 cycles.
Mm.
Is there any uniqueness we have to observe there, sir, to connect?
So here we are just making sure that they are breathing at the right rate. It just shows
Ah,
it's a spectrum presentation. So
mhm.
they are breathing at 10, 6, and 4. You can see the
Okay.
peaks are there.
Ah,
And during that time, so we can see that depending on what frequency is there, that the corresponding peak is there in the EEG also.
okay, okay.
Okay,
Mm.
the maximum is found in this 6 cycles per minute,
Mm.
whereas 10 and this thing, that is, you can see that a little increase is there, but it's not as pronounced
Correct,
as a 6.
correct, correct. So
Okay,
accordingly, then here also in the coherence also is maximum at 6 cycles per hour.
exactly,
Okay,
yes.
okay, okay.
So there is coherence in other frequencies also,
Ah,
but much more is in the 6.
wonderful, sir. Wonderful. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So this is a little complex, so I'll not get into
Ah,
that.
yes, yes.
So this is just the total power in the breathing, the EEG signal,
Mm.
how it varies with respect to breathing.
Mm.
So you can see that the EEG is divided into multiple frequency bands.
Mm.
Delta is a very low frequency band below 4 hertz.
Mm.
And then this is 4 to 7 hertz,
Ah,
and then this is 7 to around 13 hertz is alpha,
mm.
then 13 to around 25 hertz is beta,
Mm.
then 25 to around 100 hertz is again divided into three different bands: the slow gamma,
Mm.
fast gamma 1, fast gamma 2. We have divided like that.
Mm. Mm.
So if you look at it,
Mm.
this is again symmetric breathing with hold.
Mm.
You can see that there is more power
Mm.
in this alpha and beta.
Ah,
See, this is again with respect to the baseline.
mm.
So you can see that this is exhale versus inhale means
Mm.
we are taking the power during exhalation and
Mm.
we are taking the power during inhalation. We are finding out the difference.
Mm.
So exhalation power is higher than the inhalation.
Mm.
If it is higher, it shows red. If
Mm.
it is lower, it shows blue. So in
Mm.
some of the other frequencies, you can see that it is the exhalation has lower power, but in alpha and beta,
Mm.
the exhalation power is higher than the inhalation, which was something counterintuitive. We thought, well, inhalation is a more active thing. We thought more power would be there, but exhalation is more.
Mm.
But so we also compared here, we have only looked at the exhale, which has been inhale,
Mm.
but we also compared between the holding time.
Mm.
This is much more interesting.
Mm.
What this shows is when you are holding the breath after inhalation, which
Mm.
we call inhale hold,
Mm.
it has more power compared to inhalation itself.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So you are not actually breathing, you are holding the breath,
Mm.
but the power of the EEG is much higher, and you can see all these black dots show the electrodes of the 64 electrodes which are highly significant in terms of their power.
Yes, yes.
So again in alpha beta it is there, but alpha has much more.
Mm,
And again at 10 cycles per minute,
mm,
6 cycles per minute, 4. Again you can see the pattern. This is much more.
yes.
This is inhale hold versus an exhale. This
Mm,
is inhale hold versus exhale.
mm,
There are also similar pattern, even though we don't see as many significant patterns.
yes.
Then exhale hold versus inhale,
Mm,
which is similar to this, and exhale hold versus exhale. So the interesting thing is whether you are inhale and holding
mm,
or exhale and holding,
mm,
either here hold
mm,
has much higher power than
mm.
either inhale or exhale,
Okay, okay.
which is a very interesting result we thought.
Here also, is there any contrast that 6 cycles per minute, sir? That is relatively better than what is manifested in the 4 cycles per minute or 10 cycles per minute.
Yeah, here you can see
Ah,
that
yes,
this is
correct.
with inhale hold versus inhale.
Ah,
Only in alpha you can see that the
yes.
beta also somewhat. So the
Mm,
number of dots here,
mm,
even though here also it is high, this
mm,
is slightly more than this
yes,
also.
yes.
But in 4 it's very minimal.
That can be
So here
seen.
also, yeah,
That can be seen in other cases also.
other cases also, but the number of significant points is reduced here uh, during inhale hold versus
Mm,
exhale.
mm,
But because you saw already in the previous thing,
mm,
the power during exhale is higher than the inhale.
mm, mm,
So now you are comparing with a higher power.
mm.
So the significant number of electrodes compared to when you are comparing with inhale, this is reduced, but still
Yes,
the same pattern is shown. That
yes,
is the 6 it is higher compared to 10 and 4.
yes,
So here again exhale hold which is inhale, this is much higher.
yes.
So again when you're comparing the exhale compared to this is less, but still the same kind of
Mm.
comparison is shown.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. Yes. So very interesting studies. We participated in the breathing exercises, but
Mm.
bringing them onto a visual picture and seeing, how what is happening in the brain through
Mm.
pattern. That's wonderful.
Yeah, what I really impresses me is,
Ah,
see, we think a brain controls everything in the body.
correct, correct.
To some extent, of course, some centers are we are using that only. We are changing the breathing rate,
Hmm.
but in turn,
Hmm.
that again controls the activity of the brain. So there
Hmm.
are both ways up, top down. There is some control, and
Hmm.
bottom up also there is some
Yes, yes, yes.
influence. This is very
Yes.
interesting, and some of the neuroscientists they say that
Ah,
see when somebody has a stroke
ah,
and they lose some muscles activity in the leg, let us say,
ah.
and when you do physiotherapy, they are not able to move their leg,
Hmm.
but a physiotherapist is moving their leg,
Hmm.
and that when it is moving, that signal is going back to the brain, and
Yes.
that is doing something, and they are able to improve this thing.
Correct, sir. Correct.
So
Yes.
it's not
Wonderful.
only the brain is controlling the muscle is also doing something to the brain. It's very,
No.
very interesting in the
Very.
body.
Yeah. Uh, so now the very interesting, since you mentioned this point, sir, I want to reinforce that.
Hmm.
Generally, we believe, is all controlled by brain. Even
Correct.
though that is major activity is by done, now these all these studies show now through breathing,
Hmm.
in really we in turn controlling the brain activity
Right.
with all these patterns. What is shown? That's a very that is how that I saw that one phrase in the paper, sir. That is breathe brain connection or something
Yes.
in the later. That's
Hmm.
it's a powerful statement. Uh,
Correct.
Maybe yes, sir. Please.
Yeah, so the one more thing I want to say is there are a lot of papers about the benefits of, let's say, yogasanas or pranayama and all that.
Ah.
But most of them they study before and after. That
Mm,
means somebody does some pranayama for 1 month.
mm,
So the first day they record something, whether it
mm,
is heart rate or BP or something, and
mm,
they say after 30 days of practice it has reduced.
mm,
There are so many papers, so now it's a well-known fact. People know that it's effective. But
mm,
my interest is what is happening when they are doing it.
mm,
What is the mechanism behind it?
mm,
Or how is it controlling the heart? How
mm,
is it controlling when you are actually doing the breathing? What
mm,
is it doing to the various aspects of the body?
mm,
And that is where we started this.
mm.
And if you can see that we are doing recording when they're actually doing the breathing.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
not before and after.
Correct, correct,
So
correct.
also some baseline studies are there.
Yeah.
So we are finding interesting things that the breathing is able to change something in the. We have done other studies where breathing is changing the heart rate,
Hmm. Hmm.
and different breathing rates are how it is changing. Here we are changing this thing,
Hmm.
and I've looked at other things. So the breathing is, you would have heard that breathing is very important. Prana controls everything and all that. In
Hmm.
our tradition, a lot of belief is there,
Hmm.
but I feel we should do. There is lot of scope for much more studies.
Correct,
I
correct.
feel we are just scraping the surface of the research with respect to uh, deep breathing and pranayama.
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
In my opinion, at least another 10, 20 PhDs can come in this field.
Yes, yes, yes. So, any other points in this, sir? Any? I think most of things we have covered in this article.
Yeah. So the other thing is let me see what we looked at is that
Ah,
is the modulation of the amplitude of the EEG
ah.
by the phase of the breathing.
Okay, okay.
So this is some kind of this thing, and that also we looked at it at different frequency bands.
Ah,
So wherever it is red and the dots are there,
ah.
then it means the modulation is highly significant. See, even when you are not doing any of the pranayama,
Hmm.
people are normally breathing, whatever is your normal way of breathing, even that is doing something to the EEG activity.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's what we found. But
Yes.
when you do this control breathing, there is a very systematic breathing, no? So
Hmm.
the effect increases much further.
Correct.
So what the dots show that how much is the increase with respect to the normal breathing, and there again we see that at different frequencies the how it modulates is different. There is not too much at very high frequencies, but at the lower
Hmm.
frequencies the modulation is high. And what we also found, as you decrease in other things, we saw that 6 was the highest in terms
Correct.
of coherence and power and all that. But in this, it is different. The modulation keeps on increasing as you lower the breathing rate. See, in 10, that is very limited.
Hmm.
6, it is more. In 4, it is almost in every channel,
Hmm. Hmm.
even during SBH also. So, in this, the main thing to see is that the trend is slightly different. 6 is not the highest. Whatever is the lowest frequency rate. In fact, we would like to go still, some people, not everybody is able to breathe 2 cycles per minute.
Hmm.
So if we can record still lower breathing rate,
Hmm.
then we want to see whether it is still more.
Hmm.
You can see here, no, but whether it is symmetric breathing or symmetric breathing would hold.
Hmm.
At 4 cycles per minute, there are more significant points compared to 6.
Yes.
So
So
that is the additional information in this, specifically the what we called modulation of EG amplitude.
wonderful, sir.
Yeah,
Sir, maybe then if it is done, we can stop sharing this, sir. Then we can
sure.
engage in discussion.
Yeah.
So, sir, so thank you very much for this interesting study, where
Mm.
many of us took sessions from you on these breathing exercises. We really felt the change in our body, regeneration of the body after those breathing exercises. But
Mm.
now in this work, that some of those ideas have been scientifically verified and published in a top-notch journal in the biomedical area, that is Transactions and Biomedical Engineering. So I congratulate all the authors and user for making a very systematic effort in bringing something onto the um, scientific community.
Right.
So, sir, since is one of the interest is in this scientific basis for this pranayama and breathing exercises, uh, and what I believe, no, from ancient times, our nation, people have spent a lot of time in discovering this nature's wonder of breathing,
Mm.
especially to study our inner mechanisms, also to control our both physical and mental health.
Correct.
In that, sir, can you throw some So now we got some, visually saw some signatures as you mentioned.
Mm.
Now, can you throw some light on these breathing exercises work, sir, which you have gone through, and also that whatever you are giving us training, including me, to a large community?
Okay, the actual exercises that we did with you is something called conscious connected breathing. It's a very particular type of breathing,
Yes.
which, according to my teacher, is meant to increase the prana, which is
Hmm.
supposed to be the life force.
Hmm.
So, according to him, I'm not an expert in that, but I have experienced the benefit of it. You also experienced. You said it was new experience. So, according to him, when you breathe in, we are not only taking in oxygen,
Hmm.
we are taking in the life force, which is called prana. They're two distinct things.
Hmm. Hmm.
And according to him, see, we believe that in space there is nothing
Hmm.
because the sound cannot, sound requires some medium, we say. But according to him, even in space, there is prana.
Hmm.
Everywhere, prana is filled up. And you know that when we go to high in the mountains, like Leh and all that, the
Hmm.
air pressure comes down, oxygen comes down. So people have breathing issues. When you land there, they say one first day you just relax and get acclimatized, then only move on. But it seems the prana is much higher there. So if you know the right way of breathing,
Hmm.
you will get more energy there. That's how the sadhus who are high in the Himalayas,
Hmm.
they are happy.
Hmm.
They won't get the kind of nice food that you and I get.
Correct. Correct.
But still, without shirt, they are going there in a
Yeah.
cold this thing because they are getting more prana, he says.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
other thing he says is when we are born,
Hmm.
we are actually, the mind is clean,
Hmm.
pure.
Hmm.
So the children also, the way they breathe, they get much more prana.
Hmm. Hmm.
If you observed any child,
Hmm.
1 year, 2 year old,
Hmm.
so as parent, you would remember when your son was very small also.
Ah,
See, you or your wife would have tried to make him sleep
correct.
at
Correct.
10 o'clock.
Ah,
You will get tired, you will sleep, but he will not sleep.
correct.
He
Correct.
has all the energy at 10 o'clock.
Yes. 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 Yes.
This is generally found in the thing, and he says it is because they know by nature they are breathing in a way that they get more prana.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
But as the mind becomes more and more outwardly, you have interest in money,
Hmm.
power, position,
Hmm.
jealousy, anger,
Hmm.
all that. He says when the mind is distracted in many things, it
Hmm.
loses this thing of the breathing. He says I can show how disturbed is your mind just by your breathing pattern. He says
Oh. Yes.
so
Yes.
the prana level comes down. So
Uh-huh.
that's why we get less energy.
Hmm. Hmm.
But if you know how to change your breathing,
Hmm.
you can be energetic.
Oh.
Honestly,
Hmm.
why I got so much interest is after learning all this.
Hmm.
See, I am more energetic now at my age of 66 compared to 10 years before.
Ah, yes. 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 I can see, feel that. Yes. 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 Yes.
So
Uh,
I want to give this
uh,
to to tell everyone, hey, come on, this is something which you can do easily. You don't have to spend money.
yes. Yes. Yes.
You can do it anywhere. You
Yes.
can do it whenever I fly in the flight. I
Ah.
do simple breathing exercises
Hmm.
because all you need it is some attention. That's all.
Correct. Correct. Yes.
So and you don't need a specific time.
Hmm.
So I don't want to tell them by morning 5 o'clock you get up and then sit in Padmasana and do it. It's
Hmm.
definitely better. I'm not saying you shouldn't do,
Correct.
but even if you, whatever position you do, one of my cousin,
Hmm.
most of the time I'm lying down, he said, because of some issue. I said, lying down also, anyway, you're breathing. That's why you're
Hmm.
alive.
Hmm.
Observe and do deeper breathing.
Yes. Yes.
He feels he's now having much better energy.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
So I want more and more people to dwell into this, get into this, and establish the scientific basis much more.
Yes.
And I'm also passionate. We should teach this in school as
Yes.
part of science. We should
Yes.
have lessons so
Yes.
the children learn in their early age
Hmm.
the greatness of this.
Yes.
So that it's really I feel Fit India movement
Hmm.
is possible only by this.
Correct. So, sir, generally, see, many of these hidden treasures, including
Yeah.
breathing, we have taken it for granted.
Yes.
We
Exactly.
never pay attention. but
Mm.
using it as you mentioned, no, as a tool to regenerate us with
Mm.
some simple mechanisms,
Yeah.
that if we teach to the children in the schools itself, that will be a
Mm.
wonderful opportunity. And no, we are really equipping them, at some point of time they can use that when they are handling systems at different levels.
Mm.
um, Sir, for example, people talk about pranayam and the traditional several types of pranayams they say, but the some of the breathing exercises that you taught us,
Mm.
you did not know did not bother much about linking and telling something, but you started with some exercises, for example, no symmetric breathing and
Mm.
symmetric breathing with hold, and then you explained and you administered us, and then when we felt it is really helping us, then you started explaining the things, which is
Mm.
quite simple, and what I call a very I can say a layman way of administering the benefits of breathing to the
Right.
larger community. And
Mm.
once they start seeing the benefit, then they can discover. They can go and
Correct.
discover all our traditional things that are done in the breathing, which is
Mm.
really, one of the important, biggest treasure that can help our body and mind. That's what
Mm.
I felt, sir. So that, sir, now see, we saw that the scientific publication which has come recently, a wonderful piece of work being cited by many, and your work on the breathing exercises themselves, which are from our Indian knowledge point of view, which have been traditionally coming from generation to generation. How much of that experience, sir, motivated for this publication which came? And what part motivated you? Okay, this is what I want to check. Let us formulate a scientific study around this and then show it to the community.
Oh, thanks for asking this question. That this part I forgot to mention anything. See, I had BP at the age of around 50 or so, and I thought that my mother's side, everybody, she had five sisters and two brothers. All of them had BP, and most of the children. So we believe that it comes through the gene. So I
Hmm.
used to proudly say, this is a gift from my mother. I will have that. And it went on, and I used to take all the tablets, and with time, even though you walk and you reduce oil and all that,
Hmm.
which I didn't not do all of that perfectly, but I was doing to the extent possible, most of like most people.
Correct.
And with time, the only dosage increased. Whereas once I started learning this breathing exercises,
Hmm.
and some I also initially I used to regularly do meditation. Now I don't do as regularly. Then my BP came under control.
Hmm.
Those days, that when we had projects, we used to go
Hmm.
to Delhi often. No?
Hmm.
Sometimes 1 or 2 days I forget to take the medicine.
Hmm.
Then that night I won't get sleep.
Hmm.
I'll get very disturbed sleep.
Yes.
Or sometimes, when I'm standing, I'll feel a little dizzy. That
Hmm.
one day not taking the medicine also used to affect.
Correct. Correct.
Whereas once I started all this breathing exercise, no, things
Hmm.
were became so stable.
Hmm.
If I missed the medicine for 2 days, nothing happened.
Hmm.
So, so I started as researchers, naturally you have the question. I'm just doing
Hmm.
breathing. How is my heart?
Hmm.
Heart is becoming better, or BP is becoming better. Those days my heart rate used to be 82. Now it is only 72.
Hmm. Oh.
So I'm becoming younger.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
I
sir.
started reading. This is a very
Uh,
recent work, but I started some 10 years back. We didn't have even the EEGs, so I started reading. I must have
hmm.
read at least some 100 papers on this. Not only the related
Hmm.
to pranayama, but also I read the physiology of breathing. What is the neural
Hmm.
control when you are normally
Hmm.
breathing? See that there are
Hmm.
different areas of the brain is controlling when normal breathing and when you are trying to hold or change the rate.
Hmm.
This is when you're changing the rate and all, it comes from the cortex. The normal
Yes.
breathing comes from your medulla oblongata area.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I read all that, and then I read about the what is the heart lung connection. There are a lot of
Mm,
literature on that,
mm.
and what are all the muscles involved in breathing, and what are all the spine, where is the control coming from the spinal cord. See, the spinal cord, almost except 4 or 5 ner- nerves, there every
Ah,
other nerve is connected to some muscle which can improve or increase your breathing effectiveness. It's amazing.
yes.
Normal breathing
Uh-huh.
involves only 23 muscles,
Uh-huh.
but when you the deepest breathing which you can do can
Mm.
activate 89 muscles. From
Oh,
23
wonderful.
can go to 89.
89.
So
Oh.
like that, the one each thing I learned, it was
Mm.
I was amazed, and nobody talks about that. You go to
Mm.
doctors, about anything, they only talk about eating. Don't
Ah.
eat this, eat this, and we are now fed up with learning anything more. There is so much,
Yes.
but nobody talks about breathing.
Correct.
I
Correct.
feel the medical curriculum should be changed,
Mm.
you know, so that they also understand. I don't blame them because many of them are good friends and they are committed doctors. They
Mm.
don't talk about it because they don't know about it. They don't
Correct.
study in their curriculum.
Correct. Correct.
So they
Correct.
need to study that. Not only so, I want to change two curriculums. One is school curriculum for the
Mhm.
children,
Yes. Yes.
science.
Yes.
Other is the MBBS curriculum for the doctors. Both
Yes.
of them should know the importance of this scientifically so that they are convinced and to give it to the patient so that
Yes.
everybody improves health.
Yes. Wonderful.
Like our prime minister at that age, the kind of energy he has and the amount of work he does. So each of us should do it.
Correct.
That's my passion.
Wonderful, sir. So, sir, out of see when you read so many articles and
Yeah,
being a trained biomedical researcher, one of the pioneers in the nation, um, you had equipped with many things to look from that lens, and then you read about 100 articles. Then you yourself is a practitioner therapist who can administer breathing exercises.
yeah,
With all that big background, how did you know identify? Because everything cannot be, as you told, no, we can do a large number of PhDs can work on this to demystify the enjoyment our ancient people have done on this breathing pattern. So
correct.
you took only a small piece and made a very systematic study. That's where it
Mm.
got the recognition in a top tier publication on
Yeah.
on biomedical. What specific thing that, sir, you took it to demonstrate here in this work?
Here, this particular thing is, our brain is the ultimate CPU for us.
Correct,
So
correct.
anybody, the moment you say brain, everybody's interest increase. So when you show that breathing is able to modulate something in the brain,
Ah,
it will amaze anybody's interest.
correct, correct.
So that is where we started. Initially, when I sent this thing, we didn't have EEG, so funding agency, and I stopped my biomedical work 25 years back.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
I couldn't get the funds.
Ah,
But I was lucky. I had a postdoc who had done neuroscience work with Brahma Kumaris,
hmm.
and they had bought a EEG system for his PhD work. So
Oh,
it was
oh,
lying there in their Rajasthan, this thing.
ah,
So, so I had gone there, and somehow they were happy with my interest. They trusted me. I really, really thank all the people, at the research center they have. They call it Spark.
hmm.
So I had the blessing of having their EEG system. It's an imported system. Should cost at least 60 lakhs.
Oh,
64 channel latest system, portable system. They gave me.
hmm.
Yeah, please use it. The
Hmm.
only condition they said is you also should do research on our
Correct.
meditation.
Ah,
So along with this, so you were surprised that we collected more than 50 people data. Along with this, we have also collected more than 200 Brahma Kumari's meditation data. We have other publications on that.
oh, wonderful, sir. Hmm.
So I really owe this. Once I got the EG system,
Hmm.
now the major money has come.
Hmm.
Then I wrote to the this thing, uh, DST. There is a separate thing for the yoga and meditation studies. So they call it DSC Satyam. Then
Hmm.
I wrote, I have a EEG machine. I
Hmm.
need only money for one or two project staff, and this thing. Then they happily gave it.
Wonderful.
So that enabled this. And why specifically this? I wanted many more things, but there was a limited time, and you
Correct.
know our research, the
Uh-huh.
way we do things,
Yeah.
it's very slow process. By the
Correct.
time you plan and you
Yes.
come up with enough results to publish, it's minimum 3 4 years.
Yes. Yes.
So this is all I could do.
Okay. Okay. Sir.
I could have done much more.
Sir, because when I read through, when you mentioned, you shared that copy with me, I sat through in one go. I read everything.
Oh, amazing.
I felt, oh my God, whether a breathing related thing can be made as such a wonderful scientific study, and you are showing everything in the pictorial representation as you briefly reviewed the work for the benefit of the audience now. So, for example, if I only talk about breathing, people may say, yes, we are getting benefited, but we don't know how to connect it to a scientific journal. But now it has been shown, a path has been shown. So I think with taking this as a base, many more studies can come. Taking this as a framework, or how they are mapped, then take up a new issue on breathing part, and then come up with a new piece of work. That's what I personally seen, sir. Sir, the my inner desire when I read this paper, and as I mentioned earlier, also taking breathing exercise from you and many of my friends. So, how do you see this whole journey in our nation about um, giving importance to the breathing process itself as a very important aspect of our lives, and using them for the benefit of both, as I mentioned, physical health as well as mental health. And also, once we help improving the physical and mental health, then how that person become contributes much better than what he was doing earlier. I think that treasure has been discovered by our ancient people long back. Only thing is, I do not know about the scientific studies they had done, but now, since you have shown this way, uh, how do you see, sir, seeing this? Now you have a publication, now you have experienced it, you have administered it, we all appreciate. Now how do you connect the dots with all of these things?
Good question. I'm very happy that you brought this is the most important point. See, you said about physical and mental health. Actually, I believe, and there are some indications also, physical, mental, it also can give intellectual health. It can
Yes.
improve your
Physical
intellectual
and
health, cognition.
yes.
I believe, but I don't have MPs proof. We need to do a lot of studies. It might help in, because people have shown that breathing can modulate the velocity of blood flow within the brain, which is called the cerebrospinal fluid. So maybe it can flush out the so-called the beta amyloid and tau, which they call, which causes the deposit of that, causes the Alzheimer's disease and dementia. Maybe it can be reversed, if not at least minimum. We may be able to slow down the process.
Hmm.
And there is a biochemist who got the Nobel Prize during the time of Hitler. He was a Jew, but still Hitler saved him because he was doing exceptional research, and he showed that cancer cannot progress if there is adequate supply of oxygen.
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
So I feel there are many such things we need to study.
Hmm. Hmm.
A lot of interesting things are there.
Hmm.
So people who believe in this Hanuman Chalisa, they believe that when you connect, Hanuman is supposed to be the prana actually,
Correct.
and Rama is supposed to be your Atman,
Hmm.
your consciousness.
Hmm.
And so that interpretation says that if you really know how to breathe rightly and get more prana,
Hmm.
you can almost take care of everything in your body.
Oh, wonderful, sir. Wonderful. Yes. Yes. Because almost, sir, except no, okay, there is a respiration system, we respire, it gives oxygen, and we exhale carbon dioxide through lungs. Beyond this, connecting to a larger picture of prana or life, that is not studied much, but we practice it. Now you bring scientific dimension for that. I think that will really validate and take interest in this field to a larger level.
Yes, definitely.
Mm.
And I also feel that, the way you said, suddenly it occurred to me, the way we teach physiology also should be transformed.
Correct.
Physiology can be made much more interesting. Physiology usually boring, heart, and then
Ah,
you draw the picture, it does this thing, you go on describing.
mm,
Rather than that, we should have a systemic level. Okay, heart, how does it help your health? What
mm,
all is connected? Every time you always talk of what all it's connected, because when you breathe, no, you get feedback from almost every part of your body. Muscles are picking up the oxygen level, carbon dioxide level, pH level.
mm,
There are feedback from your heart.
mm,
There are feedback from the aortic arch.
mm,
There are feedback from the blood vessels are going to the brain.
mm,
Almost everywhere.
mm,
So when you do a deep breath,
mm.
all that is getting activated.
Correct, sir. Correct, correct.
So if you teach physiology like this is how your body is well connected.
Mm,
Everything is connected to everything else.
mm.
It will be much more interesting for children to learn
Yes, yes.
rather than simply giving facts. Okay,
Correct.
you draw this picture and part,
Mm,
put
correct.
all the parts.
Yes, 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 yes. No, that's why, sir. No, I also appreciate. No, you told the importance of teaching these breathing things in the school education itself
Hmm.
will help them in a big, big manner when they come out. So to as they grow older.
Hmm.
Sir, so as I mentioned, this issue was lingering in my mind
Hmm.
when we are talking about Indian knowledge systems. We bring some um, aspect that is there in our traditional value system, and we say, "Oh, this was there, and no, this is true." Where the existing scientific community, since you have not done the no scientific studies on that, shown that it is difficult to believe, and so several other dimensions of arguments takes place. But what I felt was this is one ray of hope I saw, where even though not all the dimensions are explored, at least a small iota of that is taken and shown as a scientific study, which shows a framework how starting from the basic motivation which is rooted in our ancient value system of breathing that we give importance, no, from the ages of sages who are all practicing this breathing part for most of their time, and then discovering new knowledge. From there, collecting data, in a most modern sense, you collect EEG data and you collect, and collect while subjects are doing that exercise and show the direct patterns that are changing in the brain. So that is where that brain breathe connection phrase that was mentioned here is a wonderful thing. I sincerely hope that this will motivate many more people to identify the literature related to breathing that is there in our Indian systems and formulate scientific problems and work on that and publish in a very reputed venue as done in this particular piece of work. So then, no, more and more community across the globe will start uh, getting benefited from this. So that is what I wanted to say, sir. And also the other part is this is we have taken the breathing aspect of Indian value systems and made a scientific study. Like this, there are many treasures we have, but only thing is we have to put somehow spend that extra time in putting that scientific framework and you bring it as a quality publication. Now you can see everything has come as a original thought here. Now, starting from our experiential learning of the benefits of breathing, formulating a scientific problem, and using the most modern methods and performing the experiments and putting all of them together in a proper manner where the top researchers in the area appreciate that and publishes. and it now the whole world reads that article and appreciates. That's a very interesting thing, sir. Thank you very much for showing this path. Through this, I also want to say, whoever is interested in this Indian knowledge systems or Indian value systems, they should identify a beautiful framework that has happened here. The another thing I want to say is, if any of the audience are interested, in getting sessions on breathing, sir is available. He can be reached out through his contacts available, and definitely, I assure you, all of you will really enjoy the sessions that you do, and it will be a Midas touch for all our lives to know more about the breathing part. Sir, thank you very much, sir. If you have any final comments you want to make, and
Yeah, thanks for giving me that. Again, final this thing. One thing I missed is
uh,
you said the brain is the most important that we have gone to study, which is the limit I have as you and I, as electrical engineers. That's all we can do.
correct.
But there is one more level we can go,
Uh,
which is called epigenetics. See,
oh,
you and I are not trained in that.
yes, yes, yes.
But one Norway group has
Uh,
proved that by doing certain type of breathing exercises, there are changes in the expression of the genes related to the white blood cells, which are important for our immune system.
mm,
It's a very, very fundamental. See, if you can show that there are epigenetic changes at the
mm,
level of the gene,
mm,
then there is no more proof needed. It's
correct.
ultimate because once
Yes, sir.
the gene expression changes,
Uh,
people have already proved that it even goes to the next generation.
oh, wonderful, sir.
So
Yes,
I
yes,
feel, we need to actually do epigenetic studies with respect to many of our things, pranayama, meditation, and things like that. And as you rightly said, one of the reasons I feel is our own government. Currently we have some interest in these things, but after, people blame Britishers have suppressed, but after we became independent also, there was not enough emphasis on real research in these things.
mm, mm,
My father was in central government.
mm,
When I was young, there
mm,
was no reimbursement for if you do Ayurveda.
mm,
So that means you are actively suppressing Ayurveda. Now
correct.
it is there, but
Yes,
there was a time it was not there.
yes, yes,
So like this, we need to really
yes, sir.
promote and
Yeah,
make it. People should become proud that they are doing research with respect to our IK systems.
yes.
We
No,
should
that's
get
wonderful.
that environment like that and
Yes,
the facilities like that. So there are many, many possibilities in many, many areas beyond EEG, electrical engineering, computer science.
correct, sir. Oh,
We
thank
have
you.
to go to the entire thing we'll have to explore for the benefit of humanity.
Yes. Sir, another point, since you mentioned this, I want to bring into, for final discussion at the same time to the larger audience also. At least what I have seen in the Indian community, at least for my limited exposure, when we do the research, we are
Mm,
mostly following what has been done in elsewhere.
exactly.
You take that, study that, reproduce that, and try to add value to that. See, we are taking our nation's taxpayers' money and
Mm,
our own students. We have to train them independent thinking.
mm,
Take local problems which are of high standard values. For example, when I read this piece of work, I felt so fascinating. Okay,
mm,
we are now. It came as an independent piece of work, which is very very important for the community to read and enjoy. Rather than somebody has collected some data available as a data set, you run on some model and then fine tune it and show some delta x improvement on the number. That is the novelty we claim,
mm,
and many of the cases we are not able to explain it why it is working. Only thing is that number has changed. Based on that, it is accepted or rejection happens. The
mm,
problem is always we will be followers there, because the
mm,
original people who have produced 5 years back or few years back, they're ahead of us. We will not be able to catch, and they may not publicly say in their publications, this is the lacuna there. So we
correct.
just follow them, and then finally, when they saturate, then we also are clueless on what to do next.
Yes.
Rather than that, we independently chart out a way for wonderful research. That will be very satisfying, and it's a very good value addition to not only for our nation but for the whole community,
Hmm.
rather than taking up some hypothetical problems and uh, no, and trying to show some better numbers. That's what I felt, sir.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that, Sir Prasanna. So, see, our students are some of them are extraordinarily committed and talented, but they lack direction.
Yes, yes,
So we need to tell them that there is, like you rightly said, there is value in pursue these things also, not necessarily just looking at what the West is doing,
yes,
and
yes.
do original research, which is also a high impact to the society.
Correct, correct.
And once we show the way, I'm sure they will show up.
Yes, wonderful, sir. Sir, thank you very much. So this was a very long time interest for me, inner calling, that I was looking for an opportunity to see a publication
Mm.
truly shown a scientific temperament or scientific study of an Indian knowledge system. And that is where I was requesting you will have a podcast and make it available to the community to show that it is indeed possible to do a world class work by taking up and not only just saying that it is there, but we have shown that.
Mm.
That should pave way for many more researchers to come to work in this breathing space, and also many other aspects of human lives and whatever we have discovered and available, uh, which at this point of time may not have very documented publications in the scientific study, but that we should work and bring it them to the scientific space for the better usefulness of the whole community. And final message is, sir, let us know. I'm sure many more researchers will get inspired by this your work, and many more will join, continue to work on that. Apart from that, I'm sure our many more community will also reach out to you to get more information about these breathing exercises, and also they get benefited like what we all got benefited from you and from your training. So thank you very much for joining in this podcast. Looking forward for no further interactions in this regard, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you.